Okay, so today what we're going to do is continue on with our PHP training. We're going to look at some more advanced formatting. The majority of what we're going to do here is look at how you can take what we overviewed in lesson 1, take it from something really basic and turn it into something which is an actual semi-usable website, creating a product list, an order page, and sort of a manageability backend to add products to your product listing, and also view any orders that get submitted. And what we're going to do for the third section is going to be doing things like adding user management to this backend, so that in that way you sort of have a full-featured web portal in which you can collect user information, react to user information, and then ensure that only certain people with certain credentials can actually upload or modify information on your web page. We're going to get to that last part into the third section of creating the user accounts. It's again mostly just working with databases and PHP to create this kind of workflow. And again, this is all my own experience and my own sort of ideas. Quite honestly, I'm sort of learning as we do these videos as well. But uh, what I hope that these can show you is just some ways in which you can sort of leverage these basic bits of code and create sort of building blocks to actually create something which would be a functional website if you so desire. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into it. We're going to go to the fine tuning and creating this kind of like shopping cart order flow. I'm actually not using a shopping cart, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Some of the key features or code that we're going to get into is first we're going to heavily rely on the PHP include function. This is a really helpful function in PHP. It lets you essentially set up things like templates so that you don't have to write a whole bunch of HTML and copy and paste that into every single website. You can just have like sort of like a template or sort of like a header, and then that header you can just copy using the include this header, and that way you can add things and change things like CSS styles in one go rather than having to copy and paste all of these changes across multiple files. We're going to again leverage the MySQLi and query, and we use this to interact and pull data from the database and push data to the database. So we're going to continue to use that. We're going to do some very basic math, essentially just price times amount. But we're going to show how to do that handling with variables. And then we're going to do a lot more formatting. And most of this is going to be relying, again, on the echo function from PHP and the HTML, or just essentially piping HTML into the website itself. Okay, without further ado, we'll just look at the website. So this is the Joe's Coffee page. We covered this a couple of times. It got briefly mentioned in the last video. We also use this for the contact us form. So that's using Gmail and Google Forms to create a contact us page like this. So it shows you how to use an iframe to include this in here. What we're going to look at here is actually a product page. So you can see we have different types of coffee beans. Each one has a picture. Each one you can select. Each one has a price, and then you have details. So all of this is taking from the MySQL database, which we can look here. And the database that we're using is Joe's Coffee, and we have several tables. Some are used, some are not. Right now we're using this new orders and this product database. We're essentially leveraging these two. Okay. So this is essentially all information which is in the product database, or the product table, I should say. So if we look over here, you can see all these are in the database. We have the name, the price, the description, and then we have the image location. Okay, so you don't upload the image to the database, you upload the image to a file folder, but you put the where that image is located in the database so that the database can then knows where to retrieve the image. And we'll show how all that works in just a moment. And then what you can do, just to run through the whole flow, is say I can select this. I can enter an amount. So I can say I want to buy 1 pound, $6.99 per pound. I want to buy 2 pounds, so that brings my order total to $13.98. This actually is not done with PHP. I did that with JavaScript, but I can, again, we'll show that. Then maybe I want to add buy 3 pounds or 4 pounds or whatever, or I don't want to buy that many. At any rate, I can just select how many I want. I can give my name and a shipping address, and obviously you could add more fields, whatever you need for these orders. Once we include this, let's say it's Bill and 78 some street. Say that's the shipping address. Again, you'd be able to enter in essentially anything that you want here. We click place order. It says thank you, Bill. Your order of 3 pounds Cup of Joe roast has been submitted and will be in touch soon. Now, where did that go? Okay, so it went to the new orders table. We can see Bill. We have an order number here. This is again the random number that we talked about in the previous training session. We have Bill, we have the street name, we have what he ordered, what product it was, we know the amount that he ordered, and we know the total price of the order. So what we should bill to Bill. What you would probably do is, because you wouldn't want like any of your employees or anyone just accessing the database, is what you'd want to do is go to something like this. So on your site, we also can track these new orders. So all we need to do is refresh. You can see the new orders here. Now, right now, as it stands, this is, again, I didn't want to make it too complicated too fast. So this is just pulling in, information from the new orders database. So this is just essentially showing what all of this is doing, or what information is there. In the future, what we can do is we can add ways to interact. So we could say, okay, this has been shipped, this has been shipped, this has been shipped, or this is a new order, hasn't been responded to yet, etc., etc. You can put in essentially any flow you want, depending on how you want to build up the structure. And what I would do, or what my thought process would be for creating sort of an order flow, is in addition to new orders, we have a new orders table, is we would maybe have a second table, which is maybe past orders. So once you're here in this management plane, or you're viewing these orders, once you ship it, you would have like some button or some sort of way to create an action so that once it's shipped, the information of this order would be moved from the new orders to the old orders. And we can look at doing that as we get to stage 3 and we have user accounts and so on. Now, what we do this is one sort of backend site, and this is one thing that, going forward on a real website that was external facing, you would definitely want to have behind at least a password, some sort of user account set up, and we'll do that in stage 3. But the other backend sort of management that we have on the site is also this add product. You'll notice that both add product and new orders we don't actually list on the site, so it's somewhat protected, but obviously it'd be much better if we had a login. So we'll get to there. But what we have right here is a way of adding a product, and I can show how to do that. We can make a product name. So just typing in a new product. So this is an idea, a cocoa mocha. So it's going to be a chocolate tasting coffee. And given the number of adjectives I wrote there, you can tell that I spent way too much time doing marketing. We'll add a price to this. So we're going to call it, say it's $9.99. And we're going to upload an image. And this is one of the nice features about PHP, is it makes it very easy to upload images. Just find the image, this one, submit. Okay, new profile entered into the system. We go back to the products page. Okay, first products, we had Cup of Joe, Vanilla, Columbia, Espresso. And if we refresh this and everything works, we now have Coca Mocha. And then this can then also be selected and people could order it. And it has the price per pound, the order amount, etc. So we have an order form, a product listing, an order form. This is what we're calling the shopping cart right at the moment, although it's not actually saving this information. So if you had like users logging in, we would need some way to save this persistently. But right now it's taking the information from the cache. And we're taking this information and displaying it. And then once the order is actually shipped, that's when we're actually saving it into the new orders. So let's look at the code. First, we'll look at the products page. Actually, first what we'll do is we're going to walk through this include function. So in PHP, this is the really helpful function that I mentioned is include. Essentially, all you need to do to pipe in a whole bunch of other scripts or websites or web pages is to use this include function. And I include two things. I include the CSS and menu. This is essentially the header for this website. And originally when we were using this, it was really the only PHP command that we were running. And then we're including a page end. So essentially what this lets me do is I can have this whole template. So this black background, Joe's Coffee, all these links, and this copyright over here. I can have all of this and this gray center background is all included in this CSS menu and this page end. And to create a new page on this website, all I need to do is include this, include this, and then enter in the new sort of body of the page over here. So this CSS menu.php is we define the doc type, we include we status HTML, we have the title. That's again the title that we're seeing here. This shows coffee shop. All of that's over there. Then this is the style. This is where you do the CSS or the CSS cascading style sheets. Cascading style sheets, you can define, say for example, all paragraphs in your style sheet. If you want to have a specific style for it, you can have like the font, how big the font is there any padding on it, the margins. You can do the same for headers. You can do the same for table elements or table cells. Like if you have a specific design, like I wanted all of them to align top. I don't want them to be the vertical line to be somewhere in the middle or the bottom. Then we can do customs ones, so the menu bar. And we can show in the menu bar how you call that is in the HTML. I just do td class. Class says I need a special design for this because this is part of my menu bar. So class menu bar. So I'm calling this over into the HTML. And this is just cascading style sheets in HTML. It has nothing really to do with PHP, but again, this goes into the building blocks of how PHP and HTML and CSS all work together. So CSS gives me the style, HTML gives me the structure, PHP gives me the functionality and the interaction. So we have several things. Some of this is for the slideshow, for the opening graphic on the page. This is if I needed to highlight a specific link. I don't want it. I want to highlight something specifically. We have this type of UL padding for if we wanted to make like a bulleted list. Again, this is just a whole bunch of stuff that we're pulling in. This also defines the body background color black. So what that does here is we have the body of this page, and then everything is structured into a table. There are other ways of using more advanced CSS to sort of get around tables. I like tables because it lets me know exactly where everything is going into the page. But you don't have to structure everything this way. And we have this nested table, and then the end of this starts a row. And this row and this cell has a column span of 5. And this row, because I have defined this background color as light gray, that's what gives me this body section from which I can then build all the other websites. So that all of this comes in with the CSS menu, and I include that in all of the pages. So include CSS menu, include CSS menu, include CSS menu. And essentially what that allows me to do is create my structure. Okay, so that's the include function. Very powerful, very helpful to help avoid having to retype things and copy things in many different places. All you need to do is include the CSS menu, and then any edits that you want to apply globally all go into this CSS menu, PHP or header or whatever you want to call it. Then what we're going to do is looking at the products page, we're going to look at the code. So again, what we do is we just say pick from a variety of roast. This is just this initial statement right here. Then we're going to go access data from the database. So create a MySQL variable. This allows us to connect. And again, we could connect here. We could also make this a separate page if we wanted to further obscure it. We're just clicking here, so connect to the database with the IP of the database, the login credentials, the password, and the database that we want to access. So this is where the server is. Here's the credentials for the server. This is the database we want. Then we're creating our query variable. Select everything from product. So this is from the table product. Then we're going to, this is probably not used. That was for something else I was working on. Then we just do if result. So in case there's an error, we start out with an if. So we just create another variable which is called result. And this result, what it's going to do is it goes and it queries the database. It submits this query, this select everything from product. We're going to go ask the MySQL to go get this, fetch this information. Then we set up a table so that we can start listing out these products. And we're going to give the table a header. So this is the product, the details, the price, and add to cart. So this is what we see here in the bold. This is that first line right there. Product, details, price, add to cart. Then while, so we iterate over all the rows. So while each row, fetch the associated result. So we go line by line through our big table of query information. And then we want to we assign each value from each row. So for the value product name, we're going to take this and give it a PHP variable. Price, the same thing. Description, same thing. The location, product image. And then what we do is we not only display the information, so we add another row. This is the new table row, TR right here. And then we put everything in the right place. So the image source, the product name, the price, the selection button. But we also make this into a form. And the reason we make this into a form, so for every row that you see here on the HTML side, this is actually all a form. And what that allows us to do is that when we click select, that allows HTML and PHP to know what we selected. So each row is its own form. Each form, we have these inputs. Remember in the pizza form, every input we had to define. Here, what we're doing is we're saying, okay, we're going to take this input, but we also have a hidden input. So we don't display this input to the user, but the input, we assigned a value to it, and the value is what we're showing to the user in the first place. So this way, what we can do is we know what's being displayed. We know what the user is seeing. And then we can then grab it when we go to the shoppingcart.php. So let's look at shoppingcart.php. So here, this page, we grab the information that's in post. So what we submitted, what we selected on the products page, we go and we grab this information. We have first put this all this form information, we put it into the post, and then we're grabbing this again. So we pull this back in, and again, same thing. We create a form and pipe it into a table. So we're assigning all this information into the table, and then we have this hidden input type again. This hidden input type. This is essentially saying that right here, the the web knows that the name or the product name that we selected was Columbia Roast or Columbia, but PHP, or when we go to submit this new form, doesn't necessarily know what the value would be. So that's why we have this hidden input type. Then we have the price per pound. Again, we just grab the variable from the post, and then we also put a hidden input type so that we can then grab this variable again when we submit the form, when we submit the order. Then the amount of the order. The amount, this was not something which is known previously. So we said, okay, in this flow, what we're doing is select what you want first, and then you can select, okay, how much do I want? So this amount is something new that we're giving here in the shopping cart page. So this amount is an input. It's I have a specific CSS style for it called input number, and what that does is it prevents the width from being too long, because I didn't like the long default width. So I define that with the cascading style sheet over here. Input number, max width 60 pixels. And then the type is a number. So by defining type, this is what gives us this button, so I can click up and down to change how much I want. That's what this type does. Over here, we're giving it a default value of 1. So we assume that when someone wants to order something, they're going to order 1, but they could order more just by clicking up and down. Then what we're also doing is, again, we have the name of it. So that way, when we submit this to Post, Post knows what variable we're submitting. So we're giving it a name. And we also have this ID. And what ID does is that allows us to interact with it for the JavaScript. So we'll leave this for by the side for just a sec. Handle the PHP first. Then the order total. The order total is what we're defining here. We're just for the moment, we're saying product price, and then this changes as a result of the JavaScript over here. And then we take the username and we do the shipping address. These are new fields that the user fills in for this form. So the username, the shipping address is over here. So you can see that. And again, if you wanted to, look at all this code and sort of map it, feel free to pause. And then finally we do a submit, so that we submit what it is. And so say we place order. Your order of 4 pounds espresso has been submitted. We'll be in touch soon. So this is the submit new order. So let's look at submit new order. Submit new order. What we do again, we're grabbing all the information from the post. We're also adding the total order. This is the amount times the product price. Essentially what this is doing is it gives exactly this order total, but rather than grabbing this order total, we're just grabbing the amount and we're multiplying by the same price. We're just doing the math again. And the reason we're doing that is because this order total can change based on the JavaScript, and rather than trying to grab that, I'm just doing them again at the PHP level. So from PHP, I can grab all this information. From post, assign a PHP variable to each one of these, and then I have a total, which is just the amount times the product price, and all of this is grabbed from post, and then we multiply it together. We're also adding a random number, which is going to be our order number. And again, this order number could be defined many ways. It's just a way of having a unique number in your database, which makes it easier to track, future flows or future things like as you needed to manage these orders. Then we create another MySQL I, so we want to connect to the database again. In this, when we submit new order, we create the query. This is the same thing that we did before with the pizza order form. We just insert into new orders. So we're inserting into this new database the order number, the username, the address, the product, the price, the amount. And then we're putting all of this over here. And then for price, we're not putting in unit price, we're putting in the total price. So we're putting in the total price of the order. And then again, make sure there's no errors when connecting. So we do the if. If there was an error, we would go to else, and then we would pipe in saying, sorry, an error has occurred. It could be because the database is down, or there's maybe a typo in the script. There's not in this case because I fixed that. And then we're just saying, thank you, user. Your order of however many amount of pounds of this particular roast has been submitted and we'll be in touch soon. And then at the end, as per best practice, we always close. And then that's what this does. Okay. Now we can go to the orders. So we got this new order. There is a slight bug because we're not doing any check to prevent people from not filling in a name. That's something which I should probably add, and maybe I'll do that for the next training. But essentially, this new order was submitted even though they didn't fill in the name, so we got to change that. Essentially, what you would do is you would have some sort of check before you run the submission. So you would make sure if the product is not null or something like that, or if it's blank, then you don't allow the submission to happen. And that would happen probably on this submit new order form. So I can add that shortly. I don't want to add it now. But this is essentially the flow. And then here, for the new orders, let's go to the new orders. This new orders is very similar to what we do on the product page. Make a connection, again, MySQL I, create a query, which is selecting all the data from new orders, connect to the database, first create the table, add in the header, so th is table header, so new order, customer, address, product, quantity, order price. All that's defined here. Then for each row, while we have each row, pick information from the database, assign a PHP value, and then echo a row per row of the database. Echo this information in an HTML format, piping in the variables that got listed to PHP or mapped to the PHP variables, and then we display the data. So that's how we create this table again over here, so that we can view it. And the final function that we're going to describe is adding products. So we have this over here. And we just went through the flow of this. Now we're going to look at the code, add product. This is just a form. So one thing to look out for at the form, and I include a reference here, and I'll put this in the blog as well. But when you want to submit a form that includes something like an image file or something which isn't just text, then you need to define the encoding type as a multi-part form data. This encoding type allows you to submit images when you upload them to the server. And then when we submit the new product, what we do is don't just grab the data, but we also grab the file. So the product image is actually grabbing a file. And when we grab the file in PHP, we take files, we get this product image, which is the form data, the form as defined by the name. So this name over here. So it says, okay, we're going to look for a file. The name of the file is going to be product image. And then when you first upload it, we're saying we're assigning a temp name to this. Okay. What this temp name does is, this is something which you sort of have to follow in PHP. You assign the temp name. Essentially what that does is PHP then grabs this file, quickly gives it a name. Then what we do to save the file is we use this command, get current working directory, or get cwd, and then these apostrophes. This gives us the current directory. We map that to a PHP variable. The save file is going to be the new name of what we're going to call the file, and then we're also going to put it into the correct directory. So get the current directory. We're going to combine the words with the images. So we want this to go into the image file. If we looked at the structure, that would be this directory over here. So we want to put this file from the temporary location into this permanent location, which will be the images folder over here. And then we have this product image name. Product image name is we take the base name of this file, so that we have the name of the file. And essentially, like what that would be over here is when we uploaded to the images, what we uploaded was an image called chocolate. And because I just uploaded it, it's not here in this location, it's on the server. But we uploaded this chocolate.png. So what this base name does is this bit of code essentially from the file grabs chocolate.png. It would assign this product image name. It would grab the information or the name of the file name, product.png, and it would assign this PHP variable to it. And we're combining all of this together, and then the product image name is going to be this images slash product image name. This information goes to the database. This save file, we then take this save file and we say move uploaded file, this product image, this file over here, we're going to move it to this name. Okay, so we're essentially doing move uploaded file. This is the file that we're looking to move. This is going to be the future location. So we're basically saying, giving it a new name, or die if we cannot move the uploaded file. That could be a permission issue on the server. It could be the file name is maybe too long, or there's an incorrect type or something. But essentially, if PHP is having an issue, maybe the file is too large, then we basically kill the process. We say there's an issue over here, cannot move the file to the uploading working directory. You just need to go and investigate the issue at that point. And if die does not occur, so we don't kill the whole PHP process, then we say, okay, the file has been uploaded successfully. And then here, what we also do is we put the information into the database. Again, create a query, make sure that we can do it. New profile entered into the system if it's successful. So we're inserting all of this and the image name. And remember, image name is defined over here. So images slash the product image name. And the reason we do this images slash the product image name is because when we then go to access the product, when we pull in the source of the product image location, this product image location, this value is going to be images slash whatever the name of the product is. And I'm hoping I'm being clear. But essentially, this product image name, this would be, say, like chocolate.png in this particular use case. Chocolate.png. This chocolate.png, because we put it into the images folder, and our working directory is actually one directory up, so we need to tell HTML where this image is going to actually be, and then we save that location to the database. So this location is this product image name goes to the product image location, and then when we pull it up on the products page, we pull from product image location, we say product image, and then that way when we write the HTML image source, we know exactly where the product image is, so that we can display it on the product page. Okay, so that's essentially what all that code is doing. And then once we do all that, then we can push the information into the database like we did with the pizza order, like we just did with the coffee order, and then all this information then goes to the database into the table products, and then we can see this. So again, this images Cup of Joe PNG, that right there comes from this product image name, images, and then this product image name gets pulled from the base name file's product image name. So that's essentially what all that code does, and that's how you can upload files and sort of create this add new product category method, and then make it sort of dynamic so that you can then add new products to your web page. Okay, so that's all for this session. I hope it's helpful. And again, if there are any questions, feel free to leave comments in the blog or on the YouTube videos. And thank you very much.